Welcome back, Chaos Squad. It's been a long journey, but finally, winter has come. Welcome back, Chaos Squad, and thanks for joining me once again for this week's Season 7, Episode 6 review of Game of Thrones called Death is Thy Enemy. Alright, so apparently this episode leaked last week, pretty much right after last week's episode. I was a good little boy and waited till Sunday to watch it. Anyways, let's jump into it, folks. This episode starts off with the mini Justice League moving forth and pressing on beyond the wall and having a little bit of banter. It's actually pretty funny, Gendry saying, like, you're a red priestess, like, you guys sold me to a witch, and they're like, it was a priestess, and he was like, well, she tied me down to a bed, and they're like, go on, this doesn't sound so bad. Well, then she put leeches on me, and then they're just like, they all kind of like laugh it off, and they're all kind of like making jokes. It was kind of a cool scene, it was kind of funny, a little bit of reminiscence of some of the past stuff, the loose ends they're starting to tie up. Jon then tries to give back Longclaw to Mormont Jorah. Jorah, though, it's a pretty cool interaction here. They haven't really met. Jorah kind of declines respectively and says, I defaced and disrespected my family. My father gave it to you. He's pretty chill about it. Hands it back. So that was pretty cool as well. Then we get Tormund. Man, this guy is awesome. I hope this guy's character is so cool. If anything, I think they got to get a little bit more mileage out of this guy. If he's gonna die, he's just very interesting. He's hilarious. But anyways, he's kind of bantering back and forth with the Hound about asking, well, at first he kind of makes a joke and says, like, you've been, touched by fire or whatever and all this kind of stuff. And he's like, I was pushed. And then they kind of get on this subject. He's like, you probably like dick or something. He's like, dick? And he's like, yeah, I do. He's like, yeah, you probably do. And then he's like, no, I got a woman back home. She's taller than you and blonde, and all this kinds of stuff. And then the Hound's like, wait, was her name Brienne? He's like, yeah. He's like, you're her boyfriend? Well, not yet, but I'm going to have her babies. Awesome scene. That was really good. Love to see that. Then we get a little bit more progression in the Winterfell storyline there, that little fiasco that's going on while Jon's MIA, Littlefinger trying to push a few buttons and whatever have you, right? I don't know, I'm not a huge fan of this storyline. At first I was kind of like, oh, this could be pretty good, but I don't know, it feels like they're doing it wrong or something. Not really super keen on it. Like, I didn't quite understand how Arya, like, how trained and stuff she really is. Being like a super stealthy, crazy assassin that, like, Littlefinger, snuck up on her, and, like, how does she not detect that? How does she not know, like, it's all a ruse and stuff like that? But it looks like she's quite salty and hurt by the letter. They get into a bit of a bantering match about who betrayed who. He wrote that letter, and she was like, well, you watched Dad die, apparently, like, so what did you do? You didn't try and save him. And then, back and forth, and I'm just kind of like, what's gonna happen here? Like, is it gonna be kind of torn apart? It's one of my least favorite storylines so far going on in the present. Then I think right about this time is where that zombie bear, like, attacked them. I think it was a little bit before that, but anyways, that was a pretty cool scene, actually. That giant zombie bear kills a couple random wildlings, I think, died, and pretty much fatally wounds the red fire priestess dude that keeps bringing Sir Beric back. We get to see Sir Beric and Jon interact a little bit and talking about, like, we're both on the same side, we both serve the Lord of the Light, yada yada yada, whatever have you. And Jon's just like, I don't serve the Lord of the Light, I serve the North. And he's like, the North didn't bring you back from the dead. He's like, I've been brought back 6 times now, I served your father and all this kind of stuff. It was kind of a cool interaction to see these two kind of talking and bantering back and forth and whatever have you. But then the mini Justice League spots a little, like, scouting force of the White Walkers. They flank them, do a pretty damn good job. They're battling them. John takes down the like lieutenant or commander or whatever of this little battalion, and they all drop dead except one, really randomly. I'm not quite sure what was about that. Obviously he wasn't supposed to be with them or something. They bag him and tag him, but he screams, boom, and they're just coming for their ally. They run out onto that river. Pretty intense scene right here where it's all cracking. Shot very well. I thought it was a really cool scene. The cinematics and like the just the whole atmosphere and like the whole shooting of this Beyond the Wall was awesome. It was beautiful. You know, the mountains, the glaciers, like very well done. But yeah, they're running across that lake. It's cracking like crazy. It's pretty intense and high stress moment. They don't pursue, and then they like sit there. They send Gendry. They're like, "You're the fastest one. Take a raven. Go to the wall. Send it to Daenerys. Tell them what happened. And get her out here with their Durgans, right?" So they're chilling on this rock, completely surrounded by like millions and millions of ants, right? Chimera ants. Just the panoramic shot from above just like showed like how devastatingly huge this army is. It was pretty cool. Gendry barely makes it to the wall and gets word to Daenerys. She gets there in lickety split time, but not before the Hound starts throwing some rocks and hitting one of the White Walkers and busting like half his jaw off. And then for some reason they're just like, "Oh, if that rock can stay on the ice, why can't I?" Pretty epic scene here. This is another great fight scene of the season. Like they are just, you know, the Justice League at this point is reduced to like maybe 7 people or something. Like we got Beric, Jon, the Hound, Tormund. Who else is there at this time? Technically, the drunk bearded guy and like a couple wildling guys. So we lose a couple more wildling guys here at this point. The drunk dude eventually succumbs to his wounds from the bear, so we get another death. Yeah, and this scene is just crazy. The Hound smashes the lake with Gendry's hammer at one point, sinks a few of them, and I'm just waiting for him, hey, you know, start doing that in a circle around the thing maybe, and create like a little bit of a ripple in the infrastructure of the ice, and boom, they all go in. Nope, they are getting pushed back, and they're getting like screwed. Like they're in trouble. Daenerys to the rescue though, starts blowing up all these White Walkers, and this is a pretty comparable epic scene with the dragons compared to when she torches the Lannisters. I'm kind of wondering which one was like more crazy shot and like well done in effects and stuff, because man, they were both pretty kick-ass. Like it's kind of interesting to see who would think which one looked better and was cooler and all that kinds of stuff, right? But yeah, so they're fighting onwards. They're all trying to get on the dragon. Jon starts fighting them off, buying them a little bit of time. Then off in the distance we see one of the big bad 3, I think there are, start to pull out this crazy looking javelin. I'm like, oh snap, he's gonna try and snipe a dragon. Is that even possible with ice? Can ice even kill a dragon? Apparently it just freaking devastated Visceron. He goes down and sinks into the water. Jon gets left behind because he gets mauled by a bunch of White Walkers, which is, you know, I was like, shit, not my boy. Like, I knew I should have had another favorite character. Every time I have a favorite character in the show, he dies. Goes right through the ice. I'm like, yeah, he's dead. But will he come back? And right when he fell through and I knew the dragon was down there, I was like, maybe he'll come up, and maybe that was Rhaegar that got shot down, and he'll come up as like a dragon rider. It'd be crazy. Nah, that was wishful thinking. Yeah, so did Dany and the rest get away? I'm not really sure where Rhaegar even ended up after Viserion got hit, but then we see the little shot with Longclaw sitting on top of the ice, and I'm like, is he gonna come back up? And he actually does. I'm like, well, that's pretty impressive. And he's thinking about making one last stand. And Brandon Stark, that dude's still alive apparently. We still have no clue whatever happened to this guy, whatever became of this guy. Like, we didn't get much of an indication of like what he went through and like all this kind of stuff. There's a lot of loose ends here. He throws Jon on his horse and says, go, I'm going to sacrifice myself, and I think he's dead this time for good. But kind of sucks we didn't get more of a backstory on what the hell actually happened to him. Jon makes it half dead back to his, I think Daenerys is his cousin, I think, because Rhaegar, I think, was her dad's brother, so that'd be uncle. Yeah, I think they're cousins, but anyways, get a little bit of a a funky, almost love scene there. Like, definitely insinuating a couple little hints that, like, oh, you can't have kids and all that kind of stuff. It's like, the dragons are my kids and whatever have you. And they're just kind of like, I'm like, dude, we're going to have a little accidental incest going on here or what? So, yeah, sucks. We lost a dragon this episode. That's a pretty crazy death. But at the end, we get that crazy epic scene with these, I don't know, the frozen dead army found some giant fucking chains to pull out the dragon and turn him into a zombie dragon. Now he's gonna blow ice fire breath or what? I think it's gonna be something to do with like a cold breath. It won't be fire, obviously, because that kills them. So that doesn't make any sense. So like, I predicted this episode that most of the Band of Brothers guys would die this episode. Most of them did except Barrick. So I guess I was right in that sense. And now I've been saying each of the dragons are gonna get ridden by one person. Danny, the big one. Maybe Bran would fly Visceron, or maybe the big one at some point, and Jon would ride, his father's dragon, Rhaegar. But one of the dragons got shot down. So the only thing I think now is maybe Bran will somehow temporarily take control of that dragon and like try and buy them time or something. I'm not really sure. Some of those theories I was thinking are starting to fall apart. But I don't know. This episode was really good. Had a few moments that I was kind of like, but it's still like between an 8 and a 9. But it had its weak points for sure. But had some pretty cool stuff too. So I don't know. The Winterfell storyline's a little weak. The fight scenes and the way they've shot all the atmospheres beyond the wall and stuff are just beautiful. They've done great work with the shooting and filming of this season, and the battle scenes and the CGI with the dragons. Like, obviously a lot of money went into these things. Well done. But yeah, I don't know if it was my favorite episode, but like it wasn't terrible. So I don't know, between an 8 and 9. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about the whole. Well, actually, here's a question I want to ask you guys before we sign off here at Chaos Reviews. I'm starting to wonder who the hell the Night King is. He is somebody we know, I'm starting to think. Is it another version of Bran or something like that? Because Bran was in the tree, technically. Is this an alternative storyline where, like, he screwed something up royally? Like, I don't understand, but I think we know this Night King. He's somebody that is connected to the whole storyline. He's just not some random baddie, I don't think. So, I don't know. Give me your thoughts who you think he is down below. Give me your thoughts about the Bran flying the zombie dragon or whatever have you. Let me know what you guys thought of this crazy episode in the leaks. Thanks for watching once again. This was Chaos Spike, and you just watched Chaos Reviews once again.